Thank you very much for joining us for another exciting edition of the Lunchtime Cafe on Camnet TV. My name is Marco Kwakozi. Now, this is a program that comes to you every Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at exactly 12 hours. Of course, we start with our midday news, and then we get into various other segments that we have for you on this particular program. We do have the Amazing Stories segment, we do have the Forgotten Stories segment, and also the Interview segment. And now, on today's show, we have got a number of items that we've prepared for you, which we are going to be looking at. Now, remember that you want to follow, if you want to follow, participate in this particular program, you can go to our Facebook page and then like that particular page and follow the program from there. And you can leave your comments and contributions on this particular broadcast on that particular page. We'll be more than happy to see what you think about what we are looking at this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Now, the program is fully packed, as I did say, and we go straight into some of the stories that used to happen some few years ago, just to remind you, take you back and remind you of what used to happen, especially news-wise. So we selected a few stories for you to have a look at as we take you back in memory.
For Change President Andiford Banda says it is of great concern that politics in the country has taken a different dimension that embraces violence and intimidation at the expense of politics of ideas. Mr. Banda said this when he met a movement of radio presenters based in Lusaka, paid a courtesy call on him as part of their initiative to engage leaders of political parties to address violence ahead of next year's polls. Mr. Banda said, considering the mass influence radio presenters have, they should use their platforms to influence positive change on how politics should be conducted in the country in order to uphold unity and peace.
All tactics are going to be, going to be applied, violence and whatnot. So the radio presenters have come at the right time, because you did not have to wait for May 12th after the dissolution of Parliament to start this movement. We want, by the time it is May 12th, this movement has got a countrywide influence. We'd like to encourage you to say that you should go to the Copper Belt and gather also your fellow radio presenters and hold a press conference and talk about issue-based campaign.
Mr. Banda further assured that the party will not embrace political violence, but will focus on exploring ways to steer citizens-led national development.
Focus on issue-based campaigns. Just like the SG said, ngati mwaona kuti chipani chiyamba leo muziwe kuti chilibe plan. If you see a political party getting violent, just know that they don't have a plan. Their plan is to intimidate the opponent so that he is a chambe kuyopa. Timo, let's not move. Chambe kuyopa, maybe wakazimuvina veka. But what should we compete on? And we're supposed to compete on ideas. We're supposed to compete on ideas. We're not supposed to compete with muscles. So these are ideas that we should be discussing so that you want to okay, which political party is going to empower the youth to own those businesses which are making blocks. Because Mumakongo Ninjara, opportunities yambili tapasa ma foreigners. Ma foreigners wachoka kuma China kuti vambosunga nkuku. Ma foreigners wachoka kuma Lebanon vambopanda mabloko. Ma foreigners wachoka kuti vambochita business ya agriculture, vambochita tomato, onion. When Zambians actually, if they are empowered, they can do those things.
And speaking on behalf of the movement of radio presenters in Lusaka, Jack Mwale, popularly known as the hot stepper from ZNBC Radio 4, said the initiative seeks to engage at least all leaders of political parties in an effort to address political violence that also threatens media practitioners.
As DJs in Zambia, and here in Lusaka in particular, we thought we should come together and add our voices to the vice that we have seen taking root in our country, which is political violence. And there are no better people that we can engage to uproot this vice other than the political players.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
A few minutes of rains in the past 2 weeks has been leaving a trail of damage on people's properties and businesses. Of late, Lusaka and some parts of the country have been making headlines with regards to damaged property as a result of the rains. Yesterday, Chikankata district of Southern Province was a victim of the rains as some businesses were brought down, making the owners incur massive losses. To top it up, a makeshift health center that helped many people had its roof blown off. In the process of all this, a poultry farm has also been destroyed. Farm owner Hamaimbo Moya of Hami Farms is calling for government's intervention in this.
Kunaenda bakuyapa ndanya bakushabana ningani hapa koma munchikini zvali kose zvali kete nenjati kutiriri njao twari kufunda bamamba timba no basaba tukaiye bano mndiketi umbazi bala tuchitire tata wewe kuti tiage mai atogere mani buli oyo mwana musindika kwakuona ata.
And Chikankata Member of Parliament Kabwe Mwinga has appealed to the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit through the Office of the District Commissioner to immediately come to the aid of the people whose houses had their roofs blown off last night.
First of all, we want to thank you for your swiftness in the way you've handled this issue. I want to actually make an appeal to government to swiftly come as soon as possible and help our people here. These people, of course, it's a disaster, but we cannot allow them to continue living in the manner they've even slept last night. So come to the aid of these people as government, because that's your responsibility. That's my responsibility too. Like you've seen even the clinic, that clinic services a lot of people. So it is indeed imperative that we work as a team so that we actually put that house in order.
Meanwhile, District Commissioner Peter Mwinde says his office will soon make its assessment report and provide help for the affected people.
We will ask the MMU to assist us. We are having a statement here that we will intervene as government to see what they are going to, the assessment team which is here, they are going to advise us what exactly we are going to do. But I want to also appeal that yes, it's true that sometimes you may say that it's really you had only a little money to come up. But I think these nails from me are supposed to be 5 inches, 5 to 6 inches. But these ones, Mami wangu.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
So those are some of the stories that we picked for you for this particular afternoon on the Forgotten Stories segment. Now moving on, let's see some of the stories that are happening right now. And today on this particular segment, we bring you a special report on how legal aid is helping communities to receive justice amidst the ongoing concerns on sentencing disparities. Now, our reporter, Miriam Kayemba, who was in Mazabuka, district of the Southern Province, and spoke to various stakeholders on this issue, who shed more light on how these efforts are shaping up the pursuit for justice. Let's have a look at this report.
sentencing disparities, the unequal treatment of individuals based on various factors during the judicial process have long been a matter of concern within society. While these disparities affect communities across the country, it is often those in rural areas who bear a heavy burden. Legal representation is often inadequate, hence some people are not able to argue their case completely to convince the adjudicators to be considerate as they pass judgment. To contextualize the subject during my visit to Mazabuka district, Zambia's southern province, the locals shared with this journalist stories experience on sentencing disparities in their pursuit of justice. We spoke with Moses Tembo, not his real name, a local resident who had a first-hand experience with sentencing disparities. He requested to remain unknown based on the sensitivity of his work.
On 6th of September 2018, I was arrested and given a non-bearable charge. Okay, of course, by the judge of Muslim Commission. So, from that moment, because of the nature of the offense, I was incarcerated. There was no bail, there was no police bond. As per the way the act describes, there is no bail for that charge. So, from 6th of September, my trial process had to take about 1 year, 6 months. So our matter had to drag. There were several unnecessary adjournments. And during that 1 year plus, I should say the total period came to about 511 days. Just incarcerated, waiting for the matter to reach at some stage where I could see justice. So, what was so painful, what was so difficult is the delay in terms of justice.
To gain insight into this issue, we spoke with Charles Changano, a prominent Zambian lawyer.
You can sentence to 1 day, even if the offense says not up to 25 years, because up to 25 starts from 1 day. So, depending with the nature of the offense committed, what is the community saying about that offense? And you look at the statute, what was the purpose of creating such a sentence? Again, you look at a situation where somebody was arrested and he has been in custody for a long period of time. And when you come to sentence such a person, you should consider the days he has spent. I've seen some instances in my experience when I was a prosecutor. You'll find that somebody has spent 2 years in custody, but the magistrate or magistrate will sentence with effect from that day. I feel on that situation it is unfair.
Moses explains the unfair hearing he went through. However, says he was fortunate because he received legal representation to deal with his case. Now, he is a lawyer. He chose this career path in order to assist others.
So you find that most of the prisons are crowded simply because they are keeping more less privileged people inside than those with better chances in society. So that is why the law is not applied equally, because you'd find that there are so many modes of punishments, and such punishments are considered in terms of situation after situation. For example, one may be given community service. This can also help actually prisons to decongest. But you'd find that such sentences, which are even much better, they are being given to people with better chances in society. Simply because one doesn't have a lawyer, can't afford law services, you'd find that they are given punishment which is not reasonable. Of course, all this is dependent on the jurisdiction of the courts. But then, the focus should be, the law should be applied equally.
Acting Chief Mwana Chingwala of Southern Province attributes sentencing disparities to the lack of legal representation by the locals. He has, however, thanked the government with its cooperating partners, such as the GIZ, for implementing a program that assists locals with access to legal representation, enabling access to justice, civil society participation and transparency in ACT project. The project started its activities in August 2021 with an overall objective of improving access to accountable institutions and transparent government decision-making processes. Acting Chief Mwana Chingwala, whose chiefdom is a beneficiary, says the project has become a beacon of hope for the chiefdom, adding that the assistance has created a sense of hope and fairness among community members facing legal challenges.
Some people are being accused for not knowing how to explain things in court. People are arrested just because they don't understand what their law is about. But coming of the GIZ through the sensitization or the teaching or the updating of the justice, it has brought the good fruits in Mwana Chingwala. I have good cases that have been gone through where people are fearing to go to court. Sometimes they even die. It's better just commit suicide because I have nothing to do. And how am I going to answer? Me in court, I have never been there. But because of this education that have come through GIZ concerning the justice, it has made a tremendous things in Mwana Chingwala. I'm happy because we are even assisted by the paralegal desk, where the information from the GIZ, the facilitators from who are funded by GIZ, when they come together with the paralegal desk, it makes the job easy.
The Zambian government, in partnership with the German government, has so far created 19 legal help desks at subordinate courts, correctional facilities, and police stations to increase access to legal aid.
Currently, we sit at 132,098 individuals represented under this common initiative through the collaboration that we have with these GIZ partners under the ENACT program. So you can see that numbers, which were initially from 69,000 as far back as 2017 as people that were touched by legal aid services, we've gone to 132,098 individuals that have been represented. And these statistics, I must say, are not current. So this is a previous statistic that we've picked. So currently, I even expect that we should have had more.
We sought the views of the Zambia Law Development Commission regarding factors contributing to sentencing disparities.
This is a part of our mandate that until this year, we have not really applied as a commission because of limited resources. But in the last 2 years, we have been fortunate. Our funding from government, we are primarily government funded, has been increased. So starting this year, we have held our first 3 legal seminars. So we are in the process of designing the program for next year for the seminars that we are holding, and we are hoping that we will have a legal seminar every quarter. And we are currently putting together the seminar. Is one of the issues that the Commission has requested us to start looking into.
The Minister of Justice, Mulambo Ahimbe, underscored the government resolve to steer inclusive justice delivery.
It is not based on whether one is rich or poor, but rather based on the offences that have been committed and the various sentencing principles that are enshrined in the Criminal Procedure Code. Now, there is also an aspect of stiff punishment for offences that fall in one category. For example, theft. You will steal a chicken and this person will steal $10,000, but you all get 3 years sentence or whatever the case may be. I'm giving that as an example. This is where we want to review the law to give an increased level of discretion to the magistrates, to the courts, to be able to look at the gravity of the offence, even if it falls within one category such as theft. And for those that seem lower, to be able to give a more lenient sentence. If you steal a chicken, for example, you should be able to say, get community service, as compared to one who steals $100,000 from somebody. So that should explain the legal reforms that we are still undertaking. It's an ongoing process because the laws have been there for 1930.
It is clear that sentencing disparities significantly impact individuals in rural areas, making them feel marginalized and disproportionately burdened by the flaws within the justice system. However, with the attention this issue is receiving, there is hope for positive change. Organizations, activists, and policymakers are working together to address these disparities, ensuring that justice is truly blind and equal for all. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Mazabuka District, Southern Province.
A drought-prone district in southern Zambia faces a looming groundwater shortage attributed to adverse effects of climate change. The district, whose economy is highly dependent on farming, has also seen an increase in population, leading to high demand for water after it was declared a provincial capital some years back. However, poor groundwater management as a result of indiscriminate drilling of boreholes has badly affected the water recharge table, leaving farmers whose crops depend on irrigation in panic mode, posing a threat to food security. Genius Musogotwane is the executive director of the child rights advocacy organization Musogotwane Compassionate Mission, which uses the agricultural-driven concepts to sustain efforts in ending child marriages.
And even when you've drilled 120 meters deep for groundwater, you would find that chances of getting a higher yield of water are slim. And this calls for sensitive and climate smart initiatives around our activities as we do our activities in our farms, so that at the end of the day we preserve groundwater and also we reduce the chances of food insecurity. We need to use methods of water harvest so that at the end of the day groundwater will only be used like in a period where we have such kind of a situation where we are now experiencing El Nino.
Borehole drilling firms, which have been at the center of drilling boreholes or water wells without being regulated or monitored through licensing, are also sweating in siting water as the precious liquid has gone down further, about 150 meters deep. Duncan Banda is a vegetable and fruit farmer affiliated to the Zambia National Farmers Union, ZNFU, and survives from selling his crops in Joma and neighboring Kaloma district. He is concerned about the poor methods of farming by his colleagues in the sector.
What other methods, apart from this farming field crops, can I do for me to survive? So the best is to get organized and join organizations that can give you information, so that as you stay at a farm or anywhere where you may be, you could have an informed decision.
To help reverse the looming water crisis, the Federal Institute of Geosciences and Natural Resources, BGR, which cooperates with the Ministry of Water and Sanitation through the Joint Project Water Resources Management Support Program, embarked on the implementation of the newly established Water Resources Management Authority WAMA for the development of groundwater management plans. Douglas Lubaba is WAMA's Senior Research Officer and shares some of the benefits realized through partnering with the German Development Corporation in protecting groundwater resources in Joma and other parts of the country.
In areas somewhere in Monze, in Choma, because in these areas, communities have felt the impact of degraded forest because they have lost water, the streams and rivers have dried up, the groundwater has gone low. It's difficult, and this, we are talking about a people who are reliant on herding cattle. So because of overgrazing, so it has caused a lot of soil erosion, which has gone into streams, barren streams. So working with GIZ, they're working with communities where we are trying to restore part of these degraded catchment areas.
Wallace Shawa is Director Operations at the Southern Water and Sanitation Company, SWASCO, one of the implementing agencies in safeguarding groundwater resources through working with various stakeholders.
You may wish to know that the groundwater resource was mapped in 2007 under a project called groundwater for Southern Province. So here in Choma, it's very difficult to find groundwater. But with a project that is being spearheaded by BGR, is to try and identify a well field. The other thing is that Southern Province in general is quite prone to droughts.
A tool for groundwater resource management in Southern Province and Zambia has been placed in the hands of water resource managers, academics, politicians, water users and other interest groups. But what remains is the challenge to put it to use and help to achieve the national goal of economic growth and poverty eradication through sustainable development and management of groundwater in the country. Elias Limonia reporting in Choma District.
First and foremost, I would like to say thank you for the call-up and to represent the country at large. It's very important, more especially that we are playing away as first leg, so it's very important for us. We need to win the game so that when we are back home, we just have to finalize the game and play to our level best. Well, to be very good this time around, I think our aim and our target as a team is to win the WAFCON, because last time we didn't win, but we came up on a good position. But this time around, our target is to go and grab the trophy. It is very important for us. Looking at the team that went for COSAFA, I'm really proud of them, and I would say I was so pressured to see how the girls were playing, because it gave me the mind of start thinking of how am I going to fit in the team. So it's not easy coming back to the team, but even as professionals, we need to gear up and pull up our stockings, because everyone is pushing hard to be in the team. And looking at the experience that we had in Morocco, it was very good. We played 2 games against Morocco, and we managed to win the all games, which gave us an insight to say we are moving at the right direction. So it's very important that the combination of professional footballers and the local players, it's really motivating the young girls there. They are really doing well. Well, it's very important to those who are looking up to us. We are happy for them, and our encouragement is that they should continue working hard as they're coming up to play along with us. So we keep on encouraging them and sure that we give them a good discipline, and we have to lead by example.
You have made the top 10 of the best players in Africa. How does that make you feel?
Wow, it feels good. It can only be good, and I just hope the fans keep on supporting me, and I will surely do my level best for our mother Zambia.
How far is it from the hotel?
I think for me, I'm very happy to be back in the team after the World Cup and so on. I'm very happy that I'm back. And then the Angola game, it will be hard, but we hope and pray that we can finish the game from here, and we have confidence that we can finish the game from here. And yeah, it is very important to play our game, like to play in their own home ground, whereby we can beat them from here, and then when we go home, we'll be just finalizing the game. It feels very good to play for the nation always, and then I'm very happy, and being a proud Zambian, I'm very happy to play again for the national team. They should just continue supporting us. We are going to deliver for them and for the nation at large.
Thank you very much. So you are still watching the Lunchtime Cafe on Camnet TV, and we are now getting sincere apologies about that. Thank you very much. You are now getting into the next segment, which is the interview segment. And today I'm privileged to have two guests who will be discussing issues to do with various issues, of course, surrounding the country and politics, because they are aspiring candidates. So I do have on my far left Harriet Mulenga Katanekwa, who is aspiring candidate for Lunte constituency, and on my immediate left I do have Mr. Brian Wadia, who is aspiring candidate for Malole constituency. Mr. Wadia and Ms. Katanekwa, thank you very much for making it to Camnet. Welcome to this interview.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Let me start with you, Madam Harriet. This is the first time we're hosting you on this particular show, and I just wanted to find out from you. You are aspiring to stand in Lunte. What prompted you to get into politics, and why did you choose Lunte?
Well, what really prompted me, I think I've just had this interest in politics from way back.
Mm-hmm.
I can relate it from my youthful times.
Mm-hmm.
I was a member of the current affairs, a member of the debate club, and also during that time I went to school when it was one party state. There was UNIP in power, and there was a UNIP club.
Mm-hmm.
And the UNIP club, we were getting together to, at that stage, secondary school level, where we discussed politics and we became card-carrying members, although it wasn't on a serious note,
mm-hmm.
but it was done at school level.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the government complex today, I can proudly say I'm a contributor to that, because we were contributing to it as a UNIP headquarters then. The time I was in senior secondary school, somebody was going around collecting contributions to say they were collecting for the UNIP headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
That was way back in the 80s. And today, I go to government complex and I just look at it and say, oh, so this is what we were contributing to.
Mm-hmm.
We all were contributing to what was known or called the UNIP headquarters then. But we have that structure today, which is called government complex, and it's housing a lot of ministries and other offices. And I should proudly say, I think it springs from there.
How would you rate the participation of women in politics, especially here in Zambia?
For Zambia, I can say it's below average.
Mm-hmm.
Although there is hope for the future. With where we are now, because looking at where we're coming from, where we are, I think I can say we are below average, but there is hope for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What do you think? Why do you think we are at below average? What hinders women from participating in issues to do with politics?
I think it's all to do with where we're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Zambian culture and in general the African culture, I think we have this culture where we're coming from a background where almost everything was male dominated.
Okay, so
and our traditions and culture, I think when you look at the African history,
mm-hmm.
We're coming from a situation whereby it was all about the girl sitting at home, the boy going to school. If you remember, we read Mulenga and Jelita. It was all about Jelita is sweeping the floor, Mulenga is kicking the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is the culture where we come from. I don't know if they are still reading Mulenga and Jelita even today, but I think it starts from there. And I can say we are coming from an environment, especially in my generation, we grew up in an environment where It was all about the girl cannot do this, the boy can do this. You're out to play, the girl cannot go to certain places, the boy can go to certain places. Even in church, I think it was like that. There were certain things, like in my church, I'm a Catholic, even serving Mass, the girl cannot serve, the boy can serve. And we looked at some of these areas, like politics. You see Kaunda's government, I don't know whether his first cabinet he had a woman there, I don't remember, although we've read about some gallant women, like the Kankasas, the Mary Fulanos and so on, but those were very few. So we're just coming from this environment where, as a woman, if you get involved, maybe in areas like politics, you're looked upon as what can I say, indisciplined or some sort of indiscipline or something like that. And also, because in politics, people argue, there's mud throwing and everything. So you find that even in a home, very few men can accept. They are quite skeptical about allowing their wives to get into politics. There is mud throwing there, name calling and everything. I think very few men can stand seeing a wife getting involved in that. And that's why I'm one of the advocates for clean politics, where I think it should be like a profession, which should be like a career that people should, like children. When you go to children, it's careers day and everything. Everybody wants to say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a secretary, I want to be this, I want to be a teacher. Very few would say, I want to be a politician, because it's something that maybe becomes like a by the way in someone's life. But you start wondering, why do we have political science as a subject today? So I think it should just be some sort of career or profession that should start from primary school education. Let it be a career that somebody can get into. For myself, it was an exit plan to employment.
Before I come to Mr. Wanya, also to give me his view on why we have few women in politics and what hinders them to participate in politics, I wanted to find out from you, why Malole? What do you think?
Lunte.
Sorry, why Lunte? What do you think?
Why Lunte?
The people of Lunte are missing out what you want to provide.
Okay. My interest to go rural, really, because I was aspiring to stand for one of these constituencies like Kanyama, where I come from. But then when you look at it, like last elections, I was involved in some PVT, parallel protection, yes. And when you're there, that's when you really see like the map of Zambia really divided or segmented. And you start coming across these polling stations or constituencies that are far remote. And you start wondering and asking yourself, we've got these areas in Zambia, and you see the eagerness of even ECZ taking the ballot boxes there. And when we were trying to get things there and there, resources here and there for some of our counterparts who were in those areas, there were situations like in certain area, I think it's a certain area in Wapula, where you had to depend on this. I don't know if it's a boat and it goes at particular times. So you find that they are cut off from shops where they can buy certain groceries and everything. And then we are here where everything is accessible. Then you start asking yourself a question as to how, if the country, or rather, if the authorities can ensure that the ballot box has a ballot paper has reached the remotest area in this country, the remotest, which they say is impassable, but the ballot papers will reach there. How about development? So now you start looking at it. So looking at myself, I had to go back to my roots and say, what is happening to my people?
I asked that question because you, in your earlier submissions, did mention that women participation in politics is hindered by sometimes things to do with culture, because as you put it, Mulenga is kicking, Jedita is sweeping the floor. So that mentality, I want to believe, is still higher in rural areas than it is in town. How would you rate your chances?
I think the world is changing now. Like I'll tell you, during independence, I celebrated my independence in Lunte with the people of Lunte and the activities that we were doing there. And I'll find that even the poems that I was singing from the school children and everything, it's like there is now female participation in almost everything. Even when you look at the freedom fighters, who were there very much in the Mulenga is kicking the board, Jelita is sweeping the floor. They are highly participating now. So as a woman, I think I stand better chances. And when you look at the trend, I think Lunte has been, it's a constituency that has been represented by men in the past few years. And when you get there, there's, well, in terms of infrastructure and everything, what I've been seeing there for the few times that I've gone there, I feel there's more to do with this. And, well, why not try a woman? Maybe she can,
think the
maybe
people
she
of
can
Lunte
do.
are ready to try a woman now?
They should be ready to try a woman now. I mean, if the men have been there and we're at the same level, why not try something different? Explore something different. Probably try another gender. We'll be at another level. Yes.
Mr. Wadi, why do you think women shun politics?
I think because of, let me say, the culture, and at the same time, I think the major hindrance is finances. Because we believe that, we're coming from a culture where a woman had to stay home, and a man has to hustle. So most women, I think, we don't have the provision where the women can receive the funds to participate in politics. At the same time, women, I think in Zambia, women they don't support themselves. Yeah, if you see how they celebrate the man, I wish they can have the same zeal to support their fellow women. They don't support each other. I think that's a challenge. And another challenge that I think our mothers have is, I think they've got a lot to do in the home. And imagine as my wife was been kicked there, you find that maybe there was some, let me say, in African politics, we believe in, I think they believe, and this is what we are saying, I think we have to go to have a clean politics where you don't have, name calling. There's so much character assassination. We don't talk about development, we talk about people. And I think that's been a major hindrance even to the development of our countries in Africa. So maybe to answer your question, to say, I think in general, there have been politics of character assassination. We talk people instead of talking development.
Mr. Wale here says women don't support each other. What do you make of that, considering the recent issue of the Speaker of the National Assembly, who came under fire from even women for the decision she made in Parliament?
Well, I can, that's the view coming from a man, and I'm not going to defend that one.
No, but we have, but we have proof.
Yes.
We can defend it. Look at how Madam Speaker was fired, left, right, and center
by fellow women.
And when NGOCC tried to come and defend her, now they are on NGOCC.
Yes. Okay. On that one, what I can say, I think I'm going to generalize it to say that in Zambia we are lacking one thing. I don't know when we are going to move away from the culture of stereotyping and we progress to a level where we're going to look at everything on merit based. And if we do that, I think this thing of looking on issues on gender, tribe, I think will come to an end. And I think that is what a well-meaning Zambian should advocate for now, is let everything be merit-based, and we are going to move away from this is it stigma, stereotyping type of attitude and everything. Looking at the issue that you are talking about, the Nelly Moti issue and the women and not supporting her and everything, it has to take a level-headed woman as to understand what the issue is. And also in Zambia, we also tend to have a bad reading culture. And also, we lack research. It's like if I find two people fighting, I don't even know them. And I find them fighting on the streets and everything. If I want to get interested or whatever, before I involve myself, I have to ask as to what is the origin of the fight? What are they fighting over, and how did the fight start? And that way, maybe I can put a word to it to separate the fight. I'm not going to say, no, because this person is from Makeni and I live in Makeni, the person fighting is from Makeni, and let me join in the fight and support my fellow from Makeni. But if you look at it on a mutual, to get to a mutual understanding, I think you just have to be liberal-minded. That's the first thing. And understand the issue, where it's coming from. And depending on that independent judgment, you can put a word to it. But as to women not supporting to each other, all I can say about that is about, I think, for myself and my fellow women, I think we can do better than our current status. Indeed, you will find this situation whereby sometimes women would even dread having a woman boss. I've worked under male supervisors, and I've worked under female supervisors, and I can say I will reserve my comment. So I can just say we can do better than that. Let's support each other, and let us look at issues based on merit. If I feel Mary can do better in this area, I think let me support Mary based on what I know she can do, not based on her looking at, no, but she's my fellow woman, if she does that, she'll be better than me, or she's my junior, if she progresses and reaches that stage, then we'll be at par, or she will surpass me. I think it's about time we started appreciating each other. God gave us different types of talent. God gave us wisdom. Others are academically there and whatever. Anybody who you think can be there and can produce results, let us rally behind that person, whether they are women or men. Let's base everything on merit, and among us ourselves, let's develop attitude. That attitude, yes.
Mr. Bodia, how can we have women support each other, and how can we promote politics, civil politics, as you did notice that there's a lot of mudslinging in politics and name calling. How can we promote civil politics in order to encourage women to participate?
I think as is alluded to issue of leading culture, I think in Zambia we like, I think that leading culture, I think it has gone down. At the same time, I think there must be policy by the authorities or the government to encourage women, and also the NGOs to do more of education, because if we do of education, we do education, in politics, we encourage people, automatically we are going to graduate from the old politics, whereby if I call such a person, you're a bad person, you're what, I'm just feeling, suppose we're to have where we campaign in a very friendly way. You are not code names. You are not. There's no panga. You are not chased. Automatically, people who have, there are women who feel secured, because women, they want to be secure. They want to be where they're secure. Even in marriage, if you every time the man is beat you up, you feel insecure. You run away. So I think the New Dawn government, I think they're trying to encourage, to create atmosphere where there is peace. Okay, when you talk, there's no one who come on your door and not gonna say, why did you say that, or let's go arrest you. I think there must be freedom in that area. When we educate people about the importance of being civil when you're talking, I think it will encourage many to go in politics.
Just to add on what you're saying, I think the environment that has been brought by the New Dawn government, it's something that is working to the advantage of women, because we are now enjoying this peace, whereby a woman can stand up and say, I'm going to be in politics and I'm going to stand on this particular party. You will not see banga webbing people coming to knock on your door or trying to harass you and all that. But the only appeal I can make to the men is so far I think we are doing better, but we'd like to ask for more. Just some plea for some men to be more supportive, starting from household level. Because I think where we're coming from, I think politics was known to be, if a woman joins politics, then she's a prostitute, then she's or something like that. But it's just some career that somebody wants to get into. Just like the men, the way we support them when they are embarked on this and that, we also appealing to the men from household level, even at workplaces, everywhere, even in our own political parties. There's this attitude of wanting to look at a woman as a weaker sex. Come adoptions, they want to adopt themselves because they feel the woman is a weaker sex. And also, like Mr. Walia had talked about the issue of resources. Definitely, I don't know, maybe the world is changing now, but I think from years back, men seems to have more filled up pockets than the women have filled up purses. So most of the time we depend on the men. If you are married, you depend on your husband to give you support. If you are not married, probably you depend on other family members, mostly who are male. You've got a well-to-do brother. You depend on them for support. And this is where now it also comes to my issue of where we are hoping to get to a stage where politics and aspiring for leadership should not be based on money. I personally want to embark on an exercise to advocate for a situation in this country whereby even a poor person can aspire to be in a political position. I remember during the 2021 election campaign, one of the politicians came up on some interview like this one, where he put it very blankly and just said, politics te abalanda, politics te abapina. Surely, should we compromise value for politics? There may be somebody there with an agenda, somebody there with a wish list for the people, like in Lunte, where I want to stand. Somebody may have a wish list for the people of Lunte, may have an agenda and so on. But if they don't have the resources, should it be the reason why somebody who has Kasaka Kandalama will come and push away the person with the vision for Lunte? And then we say, let the money talk. No. So we need to migrate from that type of thinking. And this is my appeal to the electorates as well. Because people shouldn't elect leaders based on money. No, it shouldn't be. And that is why we are lacking development in this country. It's because money has taken precedence. come adoptions, I'm not just talking for my political party, every political party. I think we saw this in the previous elections, even in the recent past elections. We've been seeing where people bubble with confidence to say, I'm going to get adopted because I have the money, the other candidates don't have the money. That should be eliminated, completely eliminated. Let's go back even to the UNIP era. To the UNIP era, we used to see people, somebody is a teacher, somebody maybe just works in an office, and they just decide, I want to go to politics. They resign from their workplace. They contest, irrespective of what their background is. They will stand. I don't think we used to see a spill of money so much in that era, you know. So if we can restore that, I think the better for this country.
We did see on the 28th of September 2023, the government proposed to increase the Constituency Development Fund from 28.3 million kwacha to 30.6 million. What do you make of this increase?
This increase, I can say it's one of the scores that the New Dawn government has really scored, because looking at where we're coming from 2021, I think it was at 1.6, and when the New Dawn government came in, they increased it immediately. They increased it to 2026 plus, and from there it was increased to 28 plus, and now we are 30. And this is where now we are appealing to people to put good leadership in place. I mean, with these initiatives that the government is bringing up, you increase the CDF within 2 years, you increase it to 1.6, all up to 30 million plus. I mean, that is way too much. It means we have a working government that is eager to see development and to see things happen. But with wrong leadership in place, it can't happen. Because we may just end up with wasted resources, or we may just end up with resources being plowed back into the coffers because the usage is not there. So this is where now people have to vote for planners, they have to vote for people with initiatives, people with innovation, so that this CDF, as a member of parliament, you can draw a plan for it. And if you have a vision, and that is why it's important to vote for a person with a vision, because if you have no vision, how are you going to use CDF? You are just going to be shooting in the air, and it will be a Bunguru type of style. But if you have a clear vision and a mission, you know, like I'm standing in Lunte. I found Lunte at a current state of affairs, and I look at it, and from there I'll develop a vision based also on my party's ideology and my party's values and commitments. And I'll look at it, I'll look at my constituency based on my party's ideology and say, what is the best for this place? And I'll look at what is there. What is the current state of affairs? And where are we coming from as Lunte? Where are we right now? And where do we aspire to be? And looking at those aspirations, then you can plan up a vision and you can have a proper view of how you want to use the CDF. Yes, and then also I'd also want to urge the people who are at the top of things with this CDF to just emphasize the point that this money is for the people. It's for the targeted people. I mean, for government to introduce it and to increase it to these levels, it means there's a purpose for it. But now the way it's being politicized, the way it's being personalized, it should come to an end. If I today am told you are in charge of CDF, or I'm sitting on a committee to manage CDF, it's not up to me on how I'd want to use that money. It's the people, it's the people's money, and it's the people with programs. If in the community there's a lack of school and whatever, it's the people to dictate how that CDF is supposed to be, and not you people as committee members. Yes.
Mr. Bwalia, there are some sections of society that feel that government should have taken time first to analyze how the 28.3 worked before increasing it to 30. Do you think that the CDF is being effectively used in these constituencies, especially this bring it down to Malole?
Yeah, you know, it's having a lot of money, or let me say, having a lot of ladders that have to take us on top there. Then we don't know the use of the ladders, then the waste of the resources. What I mean is, the New Dawn government has come with this initiative and have increased money, you know, the CDF. You know, it's something that needs to be, you know, we should be grateful of. But the challenge is, do we have proper implementers of this CDF? Most of them are wrong people. Most of them, they feel once they're in the CDF committee, or once they are appointed as maybe voted in as MPs or council chairperson or councillors, their duty is to wait for allowances. And this is the culture which we feel the government would have considered, because imagine CDF on itself, it can bring development in our areas. Realize, like for example, in Malole constituency, there are some areas where, as she was saying, there are some areas which are only reached during election time. The CDF committee is supposed to even come up with their own budget, and for Malole constituency, we like this farming season, we have got farming blocks. At the same time, with the CDF, we can identify certain, you know, subsistence farmers who can access this money. They buy the farming, the farm input, they buy the farm input, and they graduate. The CDF can graduate these subsistence farmers to commercial farmers. But the problem, or the the money is there, but we don't have proper implementers. At the same time, we don't have people with the vision. Okay, the money is waiting for them to knock, and you know, it's a duty for the MP to go and educate the people. People, this is your money. Access this money, and this is how you access the money. It's a duty of the council chairperson. It's a duty of the councillor to go and tell the people how they should access this money. Mind you, the people in our rural areas, like in Malole constituency, some of them, they don't know how to write a proposal. Some of them, they don't know how even to go about. The only thing they know is just maybe what cafe. How is that person going to accept that money? I think that is the thing the government was supposed to consider first. Who are the implementers? Do they qualify? The MPs, they're always, you know, some MPs, look at maybe the man has used the CDF, and we have seen development. But in the other areas, they don't know what to do, and eventually that money will come back to the government coffers. I think there's a need of the government to consider, or even put a proper pipeline. In talk of Malole constituency, we've got our MP, and may get well quickly. We've got the council chairperson, the councillors. We just have one UPND member who's one councillor from the UPND. But the challenge is the oppositions, they want to frustrate everything the government's doing. The politicians are not talking about what can we do. Mind you, you know, an opposition political party is the government in waiting. I always ask the question is, if I'm an opposition, can I not implement? Is there a law which forbid me from implementing certain project as an opposition political party? Suppose, let me talk about Shimbaka not given an opportunity to become the president of Zambia. That didn't mean that the vision that he has for Zambia will die with him. That didn't mean that Membe, when he didn't given the privilege to be voted into power, that didn't mean that that vision that he has for Zambia, he cannot implement those visions unless the president. Suppose not given the privilege to become the president, what will happen to his vision? So on all, the government is on the large pipeline, but we lack the implementing part of you.
Before we, I know that we're running out of time, but before we go, if the people of Lunte decide that they want you to represent them, how are you going with the Constituency Development Fund, of course? How are you going to ensure that women are empowered?
Okay. Yes, in the first place, if should the people of Lunte decide to go with me, first of all, I have to have this concept in mind to say it's their wish that I'm there, and not my wish. It has been my wish that I'm there, but it will have to take their wish also combined with mine for me to put them there. So I have to draw up a plan with them, because they are the ones. Because CDF, when you look at it, it has a two-way effect. Because one, it's for national development, quite all right, but there's also an aspect of individual progression in there. Because we have these, like women, like what I said, we are progressing from an era where a woman would just sit at home and wait for the husband to bring this and that, or to do this. I think now women, we are going the Proverbs 31 way, the Proverbs 31 way, and women now, even when you go to the rural areas, you go into Lunte, you find even farming women are involving themselves. Even these areas, I mean, activities which were male dominated, we've got, there are now women getting into them, even business. So, first of all, I myself, my first agenda is to do a needs assessment survey, which will end up being a continuous needs assessment survey up to the time that I leave Parliament, or up to the time that I stop representing the people there. And depending on what the needs are, and of course, the women there, now that is where now an agenda for the women will come in. If I go there and start promising people, I'm not going to do this for you, I'm going to do that for you, I think I'll be cheating. I'll be cheating. I need to do a research. Like I've already started doing a research there, which is guiding me to an assessment to establish what the urgent needs there are. And from there, there's this formation of women cooperatives, youth cooperatives, and how they are working. I'm studying on how they are working and what the bottlenecks are in them, and together with the women there, we'll work up something. We'll work out something. And of course, without forgetting the chiefs there, because the chief also, they know their people very well, and they know what the urgent needs are in their chiefdoms, because they are the major stakeholders at the end of the day. And anything that you are doing there, you have to coordinate, and you have to be to the yes. And a lot of input is coming from these chiefs, because they are the people who have lived. They are the people who have lived with these people, and they know what they are lacking. Like for instance, when you look at Lunte, you know it's an area in the rural areas, but in the years to come, I'm seeing a lot of technocrats coming up from there, because there's a technical girls' school there. And I'm foreseeing some technocrats coming up from there. So we have to sit with the chiefs and decide what happens when they leave school. What happens now with this? Because we may just be having this wasted brains and knowledge. And that is where now, as a woman, I'll come up with the women there, because they are the mothers of these girls that are being offloaded in society from there. Should they end up into prostitution with those brains? Should they end up as junkies with those brains? So we need to draw up a plan. And that is why I'm against this idea of going into a constituency to aspire. You want to go and promise the world to say, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do this for you. No, you can't do that as alone. I myself, looking at what is happening in there, you get to the stakeholders and involve. And now I'm coming from a ruling party. I'm at an advantage. Already there's these grade 12 girls and boys who just graduated last week. They wrote their final exams. They're being offloaded to society. It will have to take me as an aspiring incoming MP to take interest. What happens to these children now that they're leaving school? There's too much idle time. I mean, what do they do from morning to whatever? I'll go and knock on a door of a minister of labor and say, hey, can we, my constituency, I've got this. There's this ministry. There's this, like, what did we have recently? We had teachers, no, not teachers. I think they were recruiting for immigration. There was an advert in the paper. So we should not just leave it to the affected parties to come in. I myself, as a person interested in Lund, it should be my interest to see this advert that has come up in the paper. How is it going to benefit the people I would like to serve in Lund? I'll go to the Ministry of Home Affairs, go and lobby for some slots to say, well, in my constituency, there are these school leavers. Some of them have scored 6 points, 8 points, they've scored under 10 points. But, and this is where even the CDF now comes in, because there is a portion where there is some scholarship slots in there. And this is where if you have an MP who's really got the passion of the people there, all these are opportunities. That component for scholarship, which is in the CDF, if it's well managed with the people that are sitting in the committee, you can find that all these children, the brainy ones, you can push for them to be on scholarship in these government universities at UNZA, CBU, all these institutions. And also, those that have graduated, you don't just, if you have really got the passion, and you know these connections, I think instead of just connecting your children and relatives, I think take a time and say, no, this is also my family. I'm representing these people. So at the end of the day, I'm like a parent to them. You go in every household, do a survey, do an identification, which children have finished school, how long they've stayed in the villages without doing anything. Some of them now have even gone into cachaso drinking due to too much idle time, some of them due to depression. When there's teacher recruitment, there's ZAF recruitment, there's whatever recruitment, I mean, you can always go and knock and just say, my people, I've got so many school leavers, I've got so many graduates. How can you help? How can you help the constituency? And I'm sure we are dealing with a responsible government, and these are the issues that they should look into, especially in the rural areas. We've got a lot of brains in the rural areas, but because they are not easily identified as it is, maybe we can just advocate for a system that used to be there in the past, where for people to get into university, when I wrote my grade 12 exams, it was an automatic application to UNZA, whereby before you write exams, there are those UNZA, they send those forms and whatever, and the students, you are made to apply, irrespective of who is who, irrespective of who's coming from a rich family or from a poor family. It was, what do you call it, the playing ground was set up. Whoever scores high points gets it.
Mr. Bwalya, in less than a minute, we're running out of time. What are your concluding remarks?
My appeal to this listening government is, I think, let's go back to the drawing board on the issue of the CDF, because other people have not benefited from it. Let's see how we can make this CDF being felt in rural areas. And also my appeal to the Pumaroda constituency, please, this CDF is your money. Apply for it and see that this CDF is being used because it doesn't belong to anybody. It's not the government's money, it's your money. And also my appeal to our area MP and the council chairperson, I think they should not be segregative when it comes to issue of the applicant to apply for the CDF.
Mr. Wali and Madam Kataneko, I'd like to thank you very much for making an appearance on the Lunchtime Cafe on Camnet TV.
Thank you very much.
We have been talking to the aspiring candidate for Lunte constituency and also Malole constituency, and this is Harriet Mulenga Katanekwa and Mr. Bwalia Brian, who are aspiring for those two constituencies to stand as members of parliament, and we're discussing various issues as regarding constituency development funds and also women participation in politics. On that note, we come to the end of today's Lunchtime Cafe. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow at the same time. On behalf of the entire production team, have a blessed afternoon.